Most of us, we take our homes as a space that we should feel love, we should be protected, we should feel this growth, we should feel that there is an engagement. But what happens if the homes that we grow up in becomes a place there is hostility? They are a place where we do not understand where we are going, a place where we do not understand how we are going to grow up, and it affects our minds, it affects our growth, it affects our heart's desires, and it leads us to depression, it leads us to anxiety, it leads us to attachment issues. Welcome back to Mindheart Chronicles, the space where we talk about the mind and the heart. And if you are new in this space, feel most welcomed. And in today's session, we are going to talk about how the relationships of our parents or our guardians have affected our mental health positively and negatively. So grab your coffee, sit back, and listen to this and engage us with this topic that has really affected us through when we grow up, when we engage with people. And as we dive into this topic, I want us to understand this. Most of us, we take our homes as a space that we should feel love, we should be protected, we should feel this growth, we should feel that there is an engagement. But what happens if the homes that we grow up in becomes a place there is hostility? They are a place where we do not understand where we are going, a place where we do not understand how we are going to grow up, and it affects our minds, it affects our growth, it affects our heart's desires, and it leads us to depression, it leads us to anxiety, it leads us to attachment issues. I'll take an example of this. Take an example of a young person who has grown up in a family setup where there is a lot of chaos around and there is always arguments after arguments. Or another person who has grown in a family setup that there is warmth, there is an acceptance, there is always a validation of his point is viewed as valid. These two people are going to be different when we grow up. But in this session, I want to encourage someone that the space or the home that we come from, it is not going to define how we are going to grow up. So as much as we come from a family setup that is full of chaotic experiences, a family where there is an attachment issues, a family where there is wrangles and there is a lot of confusion, it does not limit you where you are. I'll give you an example. There is a flower, I can't remember the name, but it grows from a place where it is so beautiful, but you will never understand how it grew from this place. Like, for example, the flowers of a hyacinth, it grows in a place where there is water, there is no soil, but you see it is very beautiful. So no matter the kind of family setup you are from, no matter the environment you are from, it will not define you where you want to be. It is up to you to forgive. It is up to you to set boundaries. It is up to you to say that this I'm going to let go and I'm going to press forward to where I want to be. And I'll tell you a story. Some time back, I used to feel like maybe the family setup that I am coming from is limiting me so much in where I'm going. I want to do this, and probably the parents that we are brought up with, they want to view my life perspective in their own lenses, and they tend to think maybe that the way they perceive life is the way they want me to perceive it. But the generation that we are from is not the same kind of generation that they are from. The generation that we are from is a generation that it is so different from how we take life, and most of the time parents don't perceive that way. They tend to feel like maybe you are being rude to them, or maybe you don't want to respect them. And later on, when you stand your ground, and if at all that thing that you are chasing is valid, it is true, is going to lead you somewhere, they will always see the fruit behind that, and they will always tend to feel like, that is my child, that is my son, that is my daughter. So today, what is your family setup? How do you define your life setup? How do you define your environment setup? Is your family holding you back to what you want to become? Is your parents or your guardian holding you back to where you come from, to where you want to be? Or do you have traumas, childhood traumas that has caused you a lot of pain and has caused you a lot of problems to where you want to become? You'll always see someone who has an attachment issues trying to fix everyone's life, or he wants to be part of everything because he always fears that maybe if I want to fix people, I'll get a validation to heal the trauma that I had. Or someone who is always who has anxiety issues will always try to, no matter what kind, even if the relationship is very beautiful, even if the friendship is very beautiful, he will always anticipate when is the next argument. He will always try to have this anxiety feeling. How will the next argument be? Because he has faced a lot of arguments in his life, and he always feels like even if something is very beautiful, he or she doesn't believe that it is really true that this kind of life is. So today, don't try to look back. Don't try to say that I am from a family setup that people always fight and I'm always like this. No, try to build your own lifestyle. Try to build your own recognition. Try to build your own aroma. I'll call it an aroma of your own self. Try to build your own recipe from where you are. Let go of all the things that have hurt you. Let go of that things that have held you back. Forgive them. Or you can do this. You can call those people whom you feel like they really changed the narrative, they really changed how you perceive life. Talk to them. Tell them this and this is happening because I feel like you did this and this and that. Talk to them. Forgive each other. That is the process of healing, because you need a healing. And I want to tell somebody, I'll quote something that I think that most of you'll want to know, that healing isn't linear. And it doesn't mean everything becomes perfect, but it means reclaiming your story and writing a new chapter on your own terms. So, when you think that healing is going to be very smooth, no. Healing always has back and forth. You'll always feel like, maybe I shouldn't do this, maybe I shouldn't do that. But what does your heart tell you? What does your mind tell you? Do you want to continue living in that kind of setup? Do you want to always ruin the relationships that you have? Do you always want to have depression after depression every time? So it is up to you to make your own story. It is up to you to try and figure out, how am I going to build my own story regardless of where I am. So before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from your side. Have this story or this podcast really resonate with you? Or does it resonate with someone? You can share it to someone. You can tell them that you can link up to this Mindheart Chronicles, where we speak about all of this. This is a space where we want to build our own stories, regardless of where we are, regardless of whatever is happening. And we have to make it, because we are not people who are empty. I believe that each and every one of us has a story to tell. I believe each and every one of us is unique. The way you do things is not the way I do things. Regardless that it is the same thing, that the way you do it is not the way I do it. It is perfect in its own way. It is unique in its own way. And we are not going to let the traumas of our childhood, the traumas of our youth, of our teenage life, the traumas of all the past relationships come to ruin us. We are going to deal with this. No matter what, we have to emerge victorious. No matter what, we have to become what we want to become. So it is up to you. What kind of story do you want to tell? What do you want people to remember you with? Do you want to always have people around you and yet they always tell you you have an attachment issues, or people are afraid to talk to you because they feel like you will leave them hanging because you have fear in you? Stand up, face that fear, face that trauma, embrace it and use it as a positive thing to build your own empire. This, I want you to know that you are valued. You are who you are, and nobody is going to change who you are. If this episode resonates with you, please like, share, and also comment. And what kind of stories do you want to tell about this? About how our parents or our guardians have impacted our mental health. So if you have stories or you have comments, please don't hesitate to put them down on our socials at Mindheart Chronicles in YouTube, at Maya_Ses in Instagram, at Maya_Ses in TikTok, and also Mekandia in Facebook. I'll always reply. I'll always try to like those messages, and we want to understand more. Let us dive more even in the comment section. Have a blessed day and see you on the next episode. Bye bye.